And then I'm like, the work that I do is actually pretty fascinating. The best part is the euphoria you get. You know, like when you're solving a puzzle. This is our incubator where we are growing the cells. You can see the cells here. It has humidified incubator. So you can have a look. These are very tiny circle and moving here and there because it is blood derived from blood.
All right. Thanks so much for coming, everyone. We really appreciate it. Again, I know it's your March break, so it's your last day off, but thanks for spending it here with us. Today is, again, as you've probably kind of gauged from all of the talks today, again, it's not all going to be talks. The goal is really to get you out and, you know, having some experiential learning, but really the goal today is to treat this as more of a buffet. So there's going to be lots of things that you're going to be exposed to, and really you just have to pick and choose what you're interested in, and those are the things you should gravitate towards. And what I want to do in the next, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes is really just give you an overview of some of the chemistry, some of the drug discovery, some of the research that's going on here that Mulu and I have been working on, and along with many other people. And a lot of what we're doing is really based on drug discovery and trying to do a lot of research and trying to figure out how we can design and create new drugs. And part of what we're doing is we have a lot of students, a lot of staff working on different research programs, and they're creating new ideas, they're creating new innovation, and part of that is really about creating what's called intellectual property and IP. And then really what we're trying to do is really to try and develop these drugs, to try and develop these molecules into drugs that people would actually be able to take for different diseases, whether it's cancer, whether it's any of these so-called orphan diseases. And the reason we can do a lot of this is because normally you think about drug discovery, you think about all of these big industries, these big buildings working on all of these programs. But what's happened in the last 10 to 15 years is this has actually become a little bit expensive. Well, it's become very expensive. And what's happened is that now you can actually do a lot of this at a smaller scale with smaller communities like universities, like academics. So they can actually work on a lot of these programs, and then big industry will come in and they'll actually in-license a lot of that innovation. And this provides us a gateway to actually develop a lot of these drugs and bring it actually to the market. So there's been this paradigm shift that has allowed us to really access a lot of the new ecosystem for biotech. And it's kind of exciting the fact that we have this new building, so you'll be going there in the next 10 minutes or so. And in fact, this new building, it's our Center for Medicinal Chemistry, and really what this does is it allows us to capitalize on these new possibilities for drug discovery. And essentially what we're doing is we're working on a lot of these different cancers, we're working on a lot of these different orphan diseases. And the way that this works, so I'll give a very high-level overview, but the human body is composed of so many different types of cells. So there's brain cells, there's blood cells, there's nerve cells, there's all of these different types of cells. But the common denominator for all of these different cells is that they contain DNA. Okay, so all of your cells, they contain DNA. Again, your DNA is unique to you. And every single cell, whether it's your heart cell, whether it's your brain cell, they all contain the exact same DNA. And your DNA is your blueprint. So it contains information for how all of your cells are essentially determined. So on different parts of your DNA, you'll find information for a muscle cell. On different parts of your DNA, you'll find information for what makes a brain cell, for a nerve cell, for all of your different cells. And all of your DNA, it's made up of only 4 molecules. Right? So we call these molecules A, T, G, and C, and those are just the names of 4 molecules. And you might think, okay, how is all of this information encoded in just 4 molecules? But the same way that you use the alphabet, which only has 26 letters, and you can have thousands of words with just 26 letters, the same way your DNA, with just 4 letters, you can have thousands of proteins. So all of this information is captured within your DNA. And if we was to go through and we were to take your DNA and we were actually able to go through and sequence it and you can actually do this. So this is actually a very common experiment now. But you can take your DNA and you can read it, and you end up with all of these letters. So all of these collections of A's and T's and G's and C's. And you might say, okay, is this meaningful? How can I actually interpret this? But in the same way, if I had a book and I gave it to you, and you had to start reading on some random page, you would be able to know how to figure it out, because you would say, okay, where does a sentence begin? Well, a sentence has a capital letter at the start, so that's how you know where to start. And how does a sentence end? Well, usually there's a period at the end, so you can figure out where that is. And they're actually the same types of patterns that you can find in your DNA. So for instance, it always starts with this structure of an AUG. It always ends with something called a TAG. So you can actually go through your entire DNA sequence. You can actually read it the same way you would read a book. And you can figure out exactly what your DNA encodes. And the reason why I'm going through this, so the reason why this is important is, if you think about it, every single cell in your body has it has the same DNA, and there's 3 billion letters of DNA in every single cell. So that's an insane amount of information. And if you think about it, every time you make a new cell, your cells have to copy all of those 3 billion letters over and over again. And when that happens, is you can imagine, well, if you had to copy 3 billion letters, you might make a mistake every once in a while. And sometimes those mistakes, they actually don't make any difference. So there's a typo here, 1 or 2 typos, but you can still read the general message. You understand what it's trying to say. But every once in a while, there'll be one small letter that'll be changed, and it's going to completely invert the meaning. So here, illegally parked cars will be fine, right? Without that extra D, the meaning is completely inverted. And the same thing can happen in your DNA. So randomly this can happen, and you can have just one letter that's accidentally deleted or substituted or added, and that can completely change the entire meaning of that gene. And when that happens, that can happen in different diseases like cancer. Okay, so this is essentially the basis for a lot of the diseases. It ends up with genetic mutations. And what we're trying to do here, and what you'll see today, is we're trying to understand a lot of those genetic mutations, and then how can we actually intervene pharmacologically, and how can we actually develop a drug that can combat that specific mutation. And what you'll see is we have this sort of stratified in a pipeline. So we've essentially tried to separate everything out. So we first look at it from a computational point of view. So there's a biophysics aspect that you'll see. And then we try to develop molecules. So we do a lot of organic chemistry. And then once we make those molecules, we have to test them out in some way. So we actually test them out via cellular biology. And then we move on to more complex systems. So we look at in vivo models, mouse models, for instance. And then from there, you can actually move on to preclinical studies. You can actually see, okay, how does a tumor change? So this is actually surgery on a mouse. And you can see the tumors right here. And then when you apply, for instance, the drug to a mouse that has that type of cancer, for instance, you can see the tumors shrink. Okay, so what you'll get an opportunity to go through today, actually very soon, is just to walk through this pipeline. So we'll have some experiments set up for you, so that way you can try out some of these different fields and see how everything comes together. Okay, and again, that's part of our new building that you guys are very lucky to get to see. I think this is the first time that we're doing it this year. So after 10 years, we have our new building open, and you'll be able to see our nice new facility. And really the point of all of this is that we have a lot of students working on a lot of these different programs. We have a lot of staff working on these programs. And what's really nice is that they've been able to develop their own hypothesis, develop their own ideas, test them out in the lab. And if those ideas work, and if they can develop these brand new ideas, they can actually take them out into the form of a company, and they can create their own companies, and they can go on to develop their drugs, try to push them into clinic to try and make a difference in different types of diseases. So we've had many graduate students over the last 5 years that have developed new molecules that have actually gone into industry. So industry has come in and they've said, wow, these molecules are really good. We'd like to put money behind this. Would you like to create your own company? And we've had a few different companies that have actually been quite successful in trying to do this. And this all comes from graduate students who had the idea, they had the foresight to say, okay, maybe if I make these molecules, we can test them out and see what happens. And it's a very collaborative process, but again, it all begins in the lab. It all begins with students. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So that's where I wanted to sort of leave it. But what we're going to do now, or at least very shortly, is we're going to head over to the actual lab so you can have some actually hands-on experience with this. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. All right.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We'll try it one more time. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
There we go. Welcome to the University of Toronto, Mississauga. My name is Kwame Diko, and I am the Assistant Director of Equity and Outreach for the University of Toronto. Now, I've done my honors Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Philosophy at UTSC, and I've just completed my Master's of Arts in Higher Education, where I did some research on collaboration in Ontario universities. If you've had a presentation with me, or if you haven't had a presentation with me, what you need to know is I'm very organized. I try my best to be as concise as possible, and I respect your time. So we're going to blow right through this presentation, and you're going to gain a lot of really essential information. If we're going to map our time together, as you can see, we're going to start with the University of Toronto, and I'm going to pay special attention to the University of Toronto, Mississauga. We're going to talk about support through community, building off of what Martin has already shared, resources and opportunities, and some financial supports for those of you that are interested in coming to the University of Toronto or the University of Toronto, Mississauga. So, what do you need to know about the University of Toronto? We are Canada's top research university. We are ranked number 21 in the world. We have a legacy of discovery and innovation. We're talking insulin, Buckley's cough syrup, the electric wheelchair, you name it. U of T alumni have created it, even down to IMAX that you encounter in movie theaters all around the world. And we are the #1 most sustainable university in the world. We recycle rainwater, we use geothermal to power buildings, we have solar panels, and at UTM we have our very own honeybee farm. So U of T is a very, very sustainable place. So the University of Toronto is within a region full of opportunity and celebrated. And when we talk about the University of Toronto, what you need to know is it's Canada's largest university. And what I mean by that is we are one university with 3 distinct campuses that you can study at. We have the University of Toronto Mississauga, which is here, where you are today. We have the University of Toronto St. George, which is usually where I work from, and the University of Toronto Scarborough, which is where I completed my undergraduate studies. Thank you. So 3 campuses where you can study at. When we say the University of Toronto, we're really referring to one of our 3 campuses. U of T Mississauga, as mentioned before, holds a special place in my heart. This is where I got a lot of my experience, and I got to work with wonderful people like Dr. Mulu, like Heather, like Martin, and many of the students that you see here today. At U of T Mississauga, we have some premier programs. So if you want to study forensic science, it's going to be here. If you want to study theater and drama, it's going to be here. But we also have University of Toronto St. George. That's where our engineering, architecture, music, and kinesiology live, alongside a number of different arts, business, and science programs. And at U of T Scarborough, similar to U of T Mississauga, you can study arts, business, and science, but they have some premier programs as well, such as paramedicine if you want to be a paramedic, international business, and they have a new digital music production program. No matter which campus you choose, you're going to have a wonderful time. This is because we have over 700 programs of study in which you can learn. You can design your degree in many different ways. As I said, I did a double major in psychology and philosophy, but you could design your degree to literally do almost anything. Now, we have 3 distinct learning communities at U of T. You can study the arts, and when we say the arts, we're not just talking visual studies, but we're also talking humanities, criminology, ethics, law, and society. You can study business, maybe you want to do finance or accounting or even marketing, and then you can study science. Maybe you want to do biomedical communications, as one of the students mentioned already, or if you want to do biology or a specific specialization in human biology and epidemiology, which is population. If you want to do engineering, we have a number of different engineering programs, as you can see on the screen, that range from chemical all the way to mineral, and you could even do aerospace engineering. And here are some other programs that you can do at our St. George campus if you choose to go there, which includes architecture, kinesiology, and music. Here is what it's going to look like for you when you apply. When you're applying from high school, you're not applying into a specific program of study right away. So you're not going to apply into psychology at, or to use a better example, forensic psychology at UTM from your grade 12 year. You're going to apply into what's called an admission category. If you look in the Mississauga section, as you can see, all those blue boxes are admission categories. When you're applying, you're going to use the Ontario University Application Centre. This is a website in which you can apply to all universities in Ontario. It's going to have a base price of $156, and if that sounds like a little bit too much, reach out to me. We may be able to help you from University of Toronto. Now, back to what you can apply to. You get one choice per division up to 3 times. The divisions are the white boxes. The admission categories are the blue boxes. So if you wanted to study, let's say, forensic science, you know that's special to UTM. So you're going to have to apply to University of Toronto, Mississauga. But if you want to study biology, but you're not sure which campus you want to go to yet, you can select biology at all 3 of our campuses. A lot of our campuses have overlapping programs, and some of our faculty members even travel from campus to campus to campus. So you're not going to have a lapse in education or quality of education. Like I said, UTM is a very, very special place in my heart. So if you have the time today, look around the laboratories, ask a lot of questions, get to know the faculty members and the staff in the laboratories, because these are the people that you're going to be encountering when you do your undergraduate degree. In terms of admission requirements, what you need to know. We require 6 grade 12 U or M subjects. That is university level or mixed level subjects. This will include English for you. Every admission category has its own specific prerequisites. Some admission categories just require English and 5 other 12 U or M subjects of your choice. Some require bio and calculus and English, and then any 3 of your choice. If you have trouble deciphering this is why we're here. Reach out to our office. We'd be happy to help. Conditional offers will be made based off your grade 12 and grade 11 grades, because when you apply, we will only have most likely your first semester of grade 12. So we're going to go back to grade 11 to see if we can make you a conditional offer on your outstanding grade 11 grades. Let's say your grade 11 grades weren't so outstanding and you're working really, really hard at grade 12 to succeed. That's okay. You won't get a refusal if we review your applications and grade 11 isn't so hot. We're just going to wait to see what grades come in as you progress through your grade 12 year. Please note that we may consider all of your grade 11 and grade 12 marks for admission. We know that this time is super, super stressful as you're waiting to hear back from us. So we encourage you to reach out to us. We have many different ways in which you can get in contact with myself or my team. We have separate recruitment and admissions teams at Mississauga, Scarborough, and St. George, and then we have my team centrally, which supports all 3 of the divisions. So if you have any questions, I'm sure there's someone available to talk to you. So please don't be nervous about asking about admission requirements, how to get in, what you can study, and the many cool things you can do here at UTM. So now, in terms of support through community, you're going to hear a lot of universities talk to you about support and resources. They're going to really provide you with really marketized information telling you about why you should come to their university because they want to diversify their student population. That's wonderful and all, but I really want you to be selfish. Focus on what you can get out of the university. Ask very direct questions about the supports and the resources they offer to you as Black students. Don't just take their word for it. Do some investigations, call the departments themselves, call the offices themselves, and ask them questions. I try to break this down in the slide to let you know the difference between supports and resources. Supports are specific programs or forms of assistance provided to you, while resources are tangible tools to help you study. So I could say that I could support you in your application by having one-on-one sessions with you to unpack what admissions at U of T is like, but then I could provide you tangible tools like possibly an entrance scholarship to help with your first year of tuition when you come to the University of Toronto. Ask these questions as you're getting to know universities, and don't wait till you're in your grade 12 year. Start now. Start today. Ask us questions while you're here. In terms of the communities we have at University of Toronto, again, highlighting University of Toronto, Mississauga, we have the Black Future Lawyers. We also have the Caribbean Students Association and the African Students Association. These are all clubs to help you meet fellow students, to help guide you on your journey from year 1 to year done. We have a club for literally anything. We even have a Humans versus Zombies Nerf battle club where they shut down a part of the campus at U of T St. George to have a zombie, like Call of Duty Zombies-like experience. We have a solar-powered racing club, and you don't even have to be an engineering student to build a solar-powered car. We have clubs for everything at U of T. In terms of opportunities, when you come to U of T, we don't want you to just study inside the classroom. Our students have gone to Italy to study the history of pasta. They've gone to the United Kingdom to Oxford University to do a psychology course. Research is a big, big deal here at the University of Toronto, so we want you to get involved as soon as you can. Talk to professors, talk to faculty members, talk to anyone that might have intersecting interests with yours to see how you can get involved on the campus. We have research opportunities programs where you will get a course credit. We have paid research positions and independent study courses all for you. In terms of supports and resources, you're looking at them. We have Martin and Heather from Black at UTM. We also have the Black Founders Network. We have the Black Research Network. We have Black Access to Educational Excellence here at UTM. We have the Amani Academic Mentorship Program at UTSC. And we have the Black Future Educators Pathway at OISE, the Black Student Application Program if you want to be a doctor. And we have a blueprint program for engineering that you can partake in now in grade 11 or 12 to get to know what engineering is really like. We have intersecting supports, not just with our students, but with professional staff and faculty members to help you get the most out of your time at the University of Toronto. Okay, in terms of financial supports, I won't give you all the scholarships because there's too many to list on one single slide, but here is an example of all the scholarships that are for you as Black identifying students at the University of Toronto. These are sprinkled throughout many, many different faculties, departments, programs, and campuses for you. We actually are mandated in recruitment and admissions by a university policy that predates me to say that if we have a qualified student who would like to study here and who is brilliant, it's up to us to do our best to finance their education. This was one of the leading factors that supported the creation of UTAPS, which is our very own financial assistance program. UTAPS is for students that are getting OSAP, but we know that OSAP is based on household income, and when you get OSAP, it might not cover your first year of university. So let's say your first year is $6,000, you apply for OSAP, you get $4,000, you apply to UTAPS, and we will give you the other $2,000 to study at the University of Toronto. It surprises me that not many students know about this. It's not a loan, we give it to you to keep. So if you would like to study at the University of Toronto, we will do our best to find a way to make sure that you can study here. Okay, everyone touches at the downtown campus to get really good grades on their midterms. We don't want you to think that you have to survive at U of T. We want you to thrive at U of T. So take advantage of your time here today. And I mean it when I say talk to everyone. Ask them questions that you don't feel comfortable asking anywhere else. And we really want to ensure that you know that you belong here. This isn't a space where it should feel foreign to you, and that's why Dr. Mulu organized this. And this is 10 years today, I think you said? Happy 10 years.
Thank you.
We want you to feel like you belong here well before you're admitted at the University of Toronto, Mississauga. So ask as much questions as you can today, and you have friends no matter where you go. Mississauga, Scarborough, downtown at St. George, we are all here to support you. Cool. So that is a QR code on the screen that will, if you scan that, you will have access to, you fill out a short form, and my team will follow up with you with any questions that you may have about university. You don't have to be in grade 11 or 12 to scan it. You fill it out and you'll get an email from us most likely next week. And if you want to book a one-on-one appointment or a personalized tour of UTM, or if you want to just get coffee or tea with me, I will come back to the UTM campus just to hang out with you. It's mandated in my job, and I'm super, super happy to do it. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen. I'll hand it over to Dr. Mulu.
Thank you.